The generated look-alike slash sound-alike visuals and voices are intended for visual enhancement purposes only. All artists are faithfully represented based on the original published text. West Coast headbangers bear their fangs on Ride the Lightning by Jodi Dorland. If you were to meet the four members of Metallica out of a rock and roll context, they would look like four high school students doing Saturday detention for cutting school. Yes, the Babyface Quartet of drummer Lars Ulrich, vocalist, rhythm guitarist James Hetfield, lead guitarist Kirk Hammett, and bassist Cliff Burton are not your typical metalheads. But then their music isn't exactly typical heavy metal either. But what music it is! Metallica has been hailed on both sides of the Atlantic for bringing a bit of musical sophistication into the realm of thrash metal. One listen to their most recent LP, Ride the Lightning, is proof. If you like hard-driving metal a la Motorhead, then these guys will rupture your eardrums with pleasure. Metallica's sound encompasses everything heavy metal should be: lightning-fast guitar, crunching rhythms and strong vocals, plus traces of inspiration from almost every other musical genre. Hammett, for instance, is classically trained, and Burton's into the blues. The boys also admit to an affinity for punk rock.
I really like a lot of punk bands for their energy. It's not so much for their musicianship, but for their excitement.
Metallica are pleased with their varied influences, but at the moment, they don't want any others.
We and our management agree that we definitely do not want any outside influences infecting this band, and we know where our strengths are. And bringing in too many outside influences could ruin us forever. Right now, our music is pure, and that's the way that our management wants to keep it.
Management? It sounds like these fiercely independent males have a mother hen watching over them, but their trust in management has proven to be a key to Metallica's growing popularity. With a sound as raucous as theirs, Metallica can't hope for much radio or MTV airplay. They're one of those bands who's going to succeed mostly by word of mouth.
Our manager thinks we'll be the next Black Sabbath. That's true in terms of music, but more in the way we build up our following without relying too much on airplay.
Yeah, we'll get strong from live gigs. Our manager swears it'll happen, and he isn't wrong very often.
Just who is this mysterious manager who the band seems to trust so faithfully? His name is Cliff Bernstein, and he also happens to be the man responsible for making Def Leppard and Dokken International stars. Obviously, with the track record like that, when the man speaks, you listen. Bernstein has been lighting Metallica's path to the top for the past 15 months. But the group's history dates back farther than that. Soon after the band's formation in San Francisco, in 1982, they were picked up by Megaforce Records, the leading independent metal label in America. That company released 2 LPs for the group, Kill 'Em All in 1983 and Ride the Lightning, the latter of which was re-released by Elektra when Metallica signed an incredible 8-album contract with the label last year. What Metallica's first label helped to do was establish them as a potent touring force in Europe. Through good press and persistent road work, Metallica garnered substantial popularity on the continent. Now they're attempting to establish their foothold in America as well.
We were in Europe most of last year. We did 3 tours of the continent in '84, and we recorded the last album there. In Europe, they expect you to tour only once every album. You do 1 tour right after the album comes out, and then they see you, again, right after the next album. In America, you can tour back and forth and up and down and even do some headlining gigs. We haven't played the States for 2 years, so we're going to play here as much as we can.
What about the next LP? Although Ride the Lightning has been out a year now, a 3rd album is not what the band presently have in mind. After all, Metallica have to get their name around, and, as one may guess, it's not going to be through the usual channels.
We've got to keep touring the States before we think about a next album.
Metallica realize they have a tough road ahead of them, but things have been going their way thus far. Good management, major label deals, and most of all, a unique style. Hopefully the band will continue to garner the right kind of support in their quest to bring their special brand of thrash metal to headbangers everywhere. We welcome your comments on this story. Please help us keep the history of rock and hard rock music alive by clicking on subscribe. Until next time, thanks for watching Rock Buzz.